Did you have a rock solid alibi that was just discredited by these people?
Yeah, they didn't care.
Right.
You know, for example, your family comes up and says, well, he was here at this time. And they'll say, well, this is his family. They're going to lie for him. And the jury says, oh, that's right. And that's it. That's the end of your alibi.
What do you think of Jesse and what he said at the time?
Yeah. You know, Jesse was a mentally handicapped kid. He had an IQ of 72. I think they said at the time we were arrested.
Like E-Rock, yeah.
Yeah, he operated somewhere between the level of like an 8 to 10-year-old child.
And he obviously confessed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And, you know, that was one of the things that it's just...
Did that frustrate the hell out of you? Like, oh my God, what are you doing?
In a way, yeah, but in a way also, I mean, I knew what they did to me, the way they treated me.
Right.
You know, by the time it was over, I wanted to say whatever they wanted me to say just so they would stop. So, I can't even imagine somebody with an IQ of 72 going through something like that.
It is amazing because you never can imagine yourself put in a situation where you would agree to something that didn't happen. And to put yourself at such peril because of that, but when they wear you down like that, I guess you're only human. Yeah.
It really is possible to reach a point where you'll just say whatever they want. I mean, look how we finally got out.
Yeah.
We signed a paper. Basically, it's a guilty plea. That's what it all comes down to. I mean, it's a special kind of guilty plea where you still get to maintain your innocence. In effect, it's a way so that you can't sue them. But in the end, it's still the same thing that Jesse Miskelly did. It's saying, okay, I'll say I did whatever you want me to say if you'll just stop.
Did you ever, there was one part too, where there was the girlfriend you had run away with and were first arrested for and sent to a mental hospital because her parents hated you because you were, this is before the murders. And then you said, I guess that have you ever seen her again? Because you said the last time you touched her was a kiss in the police car. And that was just such a final moment.
That was it. The only time I ever saw her after that. What I heard was that her parents sent her to some sort of deprogram. I mean, they were hardcore fundamentalist, backwoods Christians. Just like a step above the snake handling, poison drinking guys. Right. So whenever they found out that we had been having sex, to them that was like the ultimate evil. So they sent her to some sort of deprogramming center to get her back on the straight and narrow. The only time I ever saw her again after that was whenever she was on the stand during the trial. That was it.
Oh, she testified. I didn't know that. Was it positive for you, or was it negative, or was it neither?
Neither one, really. They just brought her on the stand to say that they asked her, "Did I have a knife?" And she said yes.
Thank you. Yeah.
And I know you don't know. No one has any answers on it, really. But in purely an opinion, do you think that Terry Hobbs had something to do with it? I mean, I know it's hard to accuse someone because of all the stuff with you and Mark Byers that went back and forth, but it doesn't look good after that third documentary.
No, it doesn't. And people say, well, you want to be careful of doing the same thing to him that was done to you, but at the same time, our entire case against him, basically, when you see the movie West of Memphis, this is pretty much the case we would have put on if there would have been a hearing, if there would have been a trial. So everything that we point towards him is all physical evidence. It's all either DNA or it's eyewitnesses, things of that nature. It's not hearsay. It's not ghost stories. It's not the fact that he read Stephen King novels or wore black clothes.
Right, yeah.
He says, for example, that he never even saw the victims the day they were murdered.
Right.
Well, 3 witnesses have come forward and said they saw him with the victims within an hour of the time they were murdered. We did a lot of other stuff that didn't make it into the film also just because there was nothing we could do with it. Like, for example, we found the truck he had at the time of the murders, and luminol tested it, and there was blood in the truck, but it was so old and degraded it couldn't be identified. Same thing in his kitchen. We went into the house, luminol tested, there was blood under the linoleum in the kitchen, but it was so old and degraded that, it couldn't be identified.
DNA couldn't do anything with it.
Exactly, yeah.
Wow.
And you had there's also something where, are you and Jason speaking again? I know that afterwards you guys had a falling out over...
Well, technically it wasn't between Jason and I. It was between me and the people making this movie. At one point, you know, I had read the movie script and it was absolutely horrendous. I think it was written by the same people who wrote like Hellraiser 6, something like that. So I started reading this thing and it was horrible. And when I started speaking out against it, I started getting, you know, phone calls. They're leaving messages on my phone saying, if you're interfering with our movie, we're going to sue you because you're interfering with our right to make a living and all this kind of stuff. So I was put in a position where I couldn't even defend myself. I was not supposed to talk to anyone involved with this movie about this movie, which included Jason, because Jason was working on it.
Oh,
so
right.
you know, it wasn't actually between Jason and I; it was between me and the movie makers, and it just sort of got shifted to make it look like it was between Jason and I. But you know, finally, we just started talking again. I said, you know, if you want to try to sue me. Sue me, you know.
Yeah, that would be a little silly. That would look silly in court.
Crazy.
I mean, one victim basically suing another one.
Yeah.
Just seems terrible.
It seems, and rightly so, that you've been all consumed with this throughout the time where you were in prison and getting out and afterwards. But what do you guys do for fun? What, like, to get away from this completely? What do you two like to do just to have a good time?
I spent a lot of time at the tattoo parlor.
Yeah.
For me, that's it's really, you know, it may be physically painful, but it's for some reason it's really psychologically and emotionally soothing. And also that's where most of my friends are. You know, the only friends that I've been making since I got out of prison. So I spend a lot of time there. We watch movies together. Laura and I, we go see movies.
What type of movies you like?
The only thing if it doesn't have a monster in it, I don't watch it.
Oh, horror films, right?
Every now and then, she's actually banned me from seeing her movies. Like, she likes to see French movies and things, and she says I ruin it.
Why, do you just the whole time?
Yeah, that, or, you know, toss and turn, and it gets to the point where the chair feels like it's made out of needles. And like, you know, Jesus Christ, it feels like this movie's been on for 6 hours. When is this going to end?
You know what's bad when he goes, this is the worst thing I've ever had in my life. Sitting and watching this movie.
Well, let's again plug the book.
Oh my God!
Again,
yeah.
it's an unbelievably well written book, and it's not just rehashed facts of the case. The case is talked about, but it's not just Paradise Lost in print. I mean, it's a totally different things about Damien's experiences in prison and before, and I knew almost none of this, and I had seen all 3 documentaries, and it's called Life After Death, and it's on sale now. It's a great fucking book. It's really, really brilliantly written. And you can go to DamienEchols.com to get any type of signing info. But if you're in New York this Friday, he's doing a signing with Johnny Depp, who really was a supporter for a long time. And I love the fact that he's showing up. It's 7 o'clock, Barnes & Noble, Union Square. And you can there's a talk, and then there's going to be a signing. And you're doing them with Dave Navarro, Henry Rollins.
Right.
There's too many to list. But wherever you live, if you're listening right now, we're heard all over the country, you probably can go to a signing and hear Damien and talk and get a book signed, because it's a great read, man.
Amazing.
Thank you
What
so
an
much.
amazing story. It's almost like if it was a movie, you wouldn't believe it. It's too crazy to believe that could happen to a person.
Dude, you make people question everything. Like you said, the cops are the good guys, and all of these things that you're kind of born and raised to believe. And it's like it's just like all of that is shattered reading this.
Yeah, well, it was shattered for me living through it. You know, there's so many aspects of it that are hard to get your mind around whenever you're going through it, and it just it psychologically destroys you. It destroys the foundation of everything you think you know about life.
Yeah, not just your personal life and what it does to you directly, the physical abuse and mental abuse and whatnot, but yeah, it's a fracturing of everything that's supposed to be right.
Yeah.
The whole construct of the system just means shit.
And it makes you realize people are crazy.
Yeah.
Do you hate when people try to relate to you and have no experience like it? Like, dude, I was waiting for a bus one time, it was late, and you're like, you asshole.
Yeah, I actually had someone tell me sometimes, they wondered who had it worse because, I'm in prison, but at the same time, I don't have to worry about things like buying cat food.
Oh, yeah. Wow, I'd hate to have to go out and buy cat food.
That's a real lemons to lemonade attitude, isn't it?
If a glass is half full.
Well, they're saying Damien has to go because of other press.
A lot of press.
Very cool,
This was
man.
amazing,
I mean,
Damien.
Thank
It
you
was a
guys
pleasure
so
meeting
much.
you, sir.
Thank you
ever
so
since
much for
I
having me
saw
today.
the first documentary, I thought the story was fascinating, and you really came off even at that time like a very smart guy, and like, what the fuck is he doing in this situation? And to see you pop out on the other end of this with any bit of sanity is amazing. So just amazing to have you here. Thanks
you
so
so
much.
much.
Life
for
After
having me
Death.
today.
I'm sorry, man. Life After Death. It's in bookstores now. You can get it online. You can order it. It's a fucking great book.
Very cool.
Damien Echols, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're listening to the Opie and Anthony Show. The Opie and Anthony Show. Sirius XM.